Breaking news! Ukraine has just struck Crimea's last railway lifeline, cutting off Russia's critical supply route. This move could change the balance of power in the region, isolating Russian forces and leaving them vulnerable. Stay tuned as we break down exactly what happened and what it means for Crimea, Russia, and the ongoing conflict. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a major development in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Ukraine has successfully targeted Crimea's last railway lifeline, delivering a huge strategic blow to Russian forces. This railway was not just a transport route. It was the main supply chain that kept Russian troops, equipment, and logistics flowing into the peninsula. With this critical hub destroyed, the situation on the ground for Russia becomes increasingly challenging. Analysts say that cutting off this route isolates Russian forces and limits their ability to reinforce positions or evacuate if necessary. In this video, we will break down how Ukraine carried out this operation, the immediate impacts on Russian military logistics, and what it could mean for Crimea's future. We'll also explore the geopolitical consequences and the reactions from global powers. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of why this strike matters far beyond the battlefield. Make sure to watch until the end, as we also reveal the potential next moves for both Ukraine and Russia in the coming weeks. Stay tuned, because this is a pivotal moment in the conflict, and understanding it is key to grasping the bigger picture of the Ukraine-Russia war. Crimea has always been a region of high strategic importance for Russia and Ukraine. For Russia, it serves as a critical naval base in the Black Sea, hosting the Russian fleet and providing access to vital maritime routes. The peninsula is also a symbolic stronghold, showing Russia's influence and military reach. For Ukraine, reclaiming control or weakening Russian dominance in Crimea is both a strategic and political goal. The railway system connecting Crimea to mainland Russia has been essential for transporting troops, military hardware, and supplies. Without it, Russian forces in Crimea face logistical bottlenecks that limit their operational capabilities. Analysts argue that the railway strike disrupts the supply chain, delaying reinforcements and creating vulnerabilities for Russian military positions. This disruption could also impact Russia's ability to maintain civilian infrastructure and support within Crimea, adding pressure on the local population. International observers note that targeting logistical networks is a common tactic in modern warfare, aimed at weakening the enemy's operational efficiency without large-scale direct confrontation. In this context, Ukraine's decision to hit the railway hub is a calculated move to isolate Russian forces and increase the cost of occupation. By understanding the strategic importance of Crimea and its transport routes, we can better grasp why this strike could shift the dynamics of the conflict significantly in Ukraine's favor. Ukraine's military has demonstrated increasing precision and strategy in targeting key Russian infrastructure, and the recent strike on Crimea's railway hub is a prime example. According to reports, Ukraine utilized a combination of long-range missile systems and coordinated intelligence to locate the most critical points of the railway network. By striking these nodes, Ukraine ensured maximum disruption to the supply lines feeding Russian troops in Crimea. Analysts suggest that the operation required careful planning to avoid civilian casualties and minimize damage to nearby settlements. The strike reportedly focused on junctions, bridges, and control centers that are essential for railway operations, effectively severing multiple routes simultaneously. Ukrainian forces have been emphasizing mobility and precision, using satellite imagery, reconnaissance drones, and advanced targeting systems to ensure high-impact strikes. The choice of the railway hub as a target is strategic, as it directly impacts Russia's ability to move military equipment and reinforcements into the peninsula. Experts note that such strikes are not only tactical, but also psychological, signaling Ukraine's growing capability to hit key logistical points deep within contested territory. Russia now faces challenges in resupplying troops and maintaining operational readiness. The destruction of this hub also sends a message to the international community about Ukraine's resilience and strategic planning in modern warfare, highlighting how disrupting supply chains can significantly influence the conflict's trajectory. The destruction of Crimea's railway hub has immediate and serious consequences for Russian military operations. Russian troops stationed in Crimea rely heavily on this railway system for moving ammunition, fuel, food, and equipment. With the hub disabled, supply lines are severely disrupted, causing delays in reinforcements and resupply missions. Analysts highlight that this could affect Russia's frontline readiness, as units may struggle to maintain operational effectiveness without consistent logistical support. Commanders now face the challenge of rerouting supplies through alternative, less efficient routes, which increases transit time and exposes them to further attacks. Additionally, Morale among troops could be affected as logistical failures create uncertainty and strain. The strike also has tactical implications, limiting Russia's ability to launch counteroffensives or defend key positions in Crimea. Some experts note that the impact extends beyond the military. Civilian infrastructure and local governance may also face disruptions due to delayed deliveries of essential goods. In a broader strategic sense, Ukraine's successful strike demonstrates their capability to degrade Russian operational capacity without engaging in direct confrontation. This shift may force Russia to rethink its deployment strategy and reconsider how it secures supply chains. Ultimately, Ukraine's action is a clear message that the conflict's dynamics are shifting, with logistics emerging as a critical vulnerability for Russian forces stationed in Crimea. Ukraine's strike on the last railway lifeline to Crimea has implications that extend far beyond the battlefield. Internationally, it signals Ukraine's increasing effectiveness in strategic operations, potentially influencing global support and military aid. Western nations monitoring the conflict may view this as proof of Ukraine's ability to challenge Russian logistics, reinforcing arguments for continued assistance. Conversely, Russia faces potential diplomatic pressures as the strike highlights vulnerabilities within its occupied territories, raising questions about control and stability in Crimea. Regional actors, including Black Sea neighbors, may reassess their security postures, understanding that key infrastructure in Crimea is now susceptible to precision attacks. Analysts suggest that the operation could alter military planning and negotiations, as control over Crimea remains a central issue in broader peace discussions. The psychological impact on global perception is also significant. By demonstrating that Ukraine can disrupt crucial supply routes, the country strengthens its position in international media narratives, projecting resilience and strategic competence. For Russia, this event may force the Kremlin to divert resources to protect logistical hubs, stretching military capacity across multiple fronts. Ultimately, the strike reshapes the strategic calculus, emphasizing that logistical vulnerabilities can determine outcomes in modern warfare. The international community will likely watch closely, as actions like this influence future decisions regarding military aid, sanctions, and geopolitical alliances in Eastern Europe. In response to the railway strike, Russian military planners are likely considering multiple strategies to restore operational functionality in Crimea. Repairing damaged infrastructure is an immediate priority, though challenges such as resource availability, security risks, and ongoing Ukrainian monitoring complicate reconstruction efforts. Russia may also attempt to reroute supply lines through alternative paths, but these routes are often longer and less secure, increasing vulnerability to future strikes. Military analysts suggest that Russia could enhance air surveillance and deploy additional defensive measures to protect key logistical hubs. There's also the possibility of intensifying counterattacks in regions where Ukraine's supply chains might be threatened, aiming to divert attention from Crimea. Strategically, Russia faces a dilemma. Committing forces to protect logistical networks could weaken frontline positions elsewhere, creating operational trade-offs. Political reactions may also play a role, as the Kremlin seeks to maintain a narrative of strength while mitigating domestic and international scrutiny. Observers note that the strike places pressure on Russia to innovate, perhaps accelerating the deployment of drones, fortifications, or alternate transport methods. While Russia has historically demonstrated resilience in adapting to disruptions, the loss of Crimea's last railway lifeline represents a significant logistical setback. The coming weeks are likely to reveal the Kremlin's ability to respond effectively and maintain operational stability within the region, as Ukraine's tactical strike reshapes the battlefield dynamics in Crimea. The strike on Crimea's railway hub doesn't only affect Russian military operations, it also has broader consequences for civilians and the region's economy. The railway was a key artery for transporting not just military supplies, but also essential goods like food, medicine, and fuel. With the hub destroyed, supply chains to local towns and cities are disrupted, potentially causing shortages and logistical challenges for civilians. Analysts point out that such disruptions can increase public dissatisfaction, putting additional pressure on local administration under Russian control. Economically, industries that rely on transport to Crimea may face delays and increased costs, affecting trade and business continuity. The strike may also impact tourism and shipping activities, as the railway supported both passenger and cargo movement across the peninsula. Humanitarian concerns are also relevant. Aid and essential services may need to be rerouted or delayed due to damaged infrastructure. While Ukraine's primary target was military, the collateral impact illustrates the interconnected nature of logistics in conflict zones. International observers note that effective targeting of critical infrastructure can exert pressure on occupiers without large-scale civilian casualties if conducted with precision. This development emphasizes that the strike on Crimea is not only a tactical military operation, but also a move with strategic ripple effects affecting both civilians and regional economic stability. Military experts agree that Ukraine's destruction of the last railway lifeline to Crimea represents a significant shift in the operational landscape. Logistics are a backbone of any military campaign, and severing Russia's key supply routes forces a reevaluation of troop deployment, equipment transport, and operational priorities. Experts highlight that the strike demonstrates Ukraine's growing capability to execute precise, high-impact operations deep within contested territory. Some analysts compare this tactic to historical examples, where cutting supply chains decisively influenced battles without direct confrontation. The strike also serves as a psychological tool, signaling Ukraine's ability to challenge Russian control in Crimea. Experts note that such strikes require meticulous intelligence gathering, including satellite imagery, drone reconnaissance, and communication intercepts. Coordination between different branches of Ukraine's military further underscores the sophistication of this operation. From a strategic perspective, the railway hub's destruction may force Russia to divert resources to defend infrastructure rather than focus solely on offensive operations. Additionally, international military observers are likely reassessing Ukraine's potential for future strategic strikes, which could influence further aid, training, and equipment support. In essence, expert analysis confirms that Ukraine's operation is not only a tactical victory, but also a signal of evolving capabilities that could impact the broader trajectory of the conflict in Crimea and surrounding regions. The strike on Crimea's railway hub has captured the attention of global powers and international media. Western nations have highlighted Ukraine's strategic capabilities, reinforcing discussions about continued military support, intelligence sharing, and supply of precision weapons. Analysts in Europe and the United States point out that Ukraine's ability to disrupt Russian logistics strengthens its negotiating position in potential conflict resolution talks. Meanwhile, Russia faces scrutiny over the vulnerability of its occupied territories, raising questions about military preparedness and regional stability. Neighboring countries along the Black Sea are closely monitoring the situation, understanding that similar infrastructure could be targeted in future conflicts. International news outlets have extensively covered the strike, framing it as a significant development in the ongoing war. Global investors and economic analysts are also factoring in the potential regional disruptions to trade, energy, and commerce linked to Crimea. In diplomatic terms, the strike underscores the importance of logistical infrastructure in modern warfare and demonstrates how strategic strikes can influence perception, alliances, and policy decisions. Observers emphasize that Ukraine's operation, while tactical, carries symbolic and geopolitical weight, signaling the country's ability to shape the battlefield while influencing the broader international community's response to the conflict. In conclusion, Ukraine's destruction of Crimea's last railway lifeline represents a pivotal moment in the ongoing conflict with Russia. The strike significantly disrupts Russian logistics, isolates troops in the peninsula, and sends a powerful message about Ukraine's growing military capabilities. Strategic strikes like this not only affect military operations, but also have broader geopolitical, economic, and psychological consequences. Russia now faces urgent challenges in repairing infrastructure, maintaining supply lines, and adapting its operational strategies. Meanwhile, the global community watches closely, analyzing the implications for regional security and potential international responses. This development reinforces the importance of logistics in modern warfare and highlights Ukraine's increasing sophistication in targeting critical infrastructure. It's a clear reminder that control over supply chains can decisively influence the balance of power in conflict zones. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth updates on the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Hit the notification bell to stay informed about every major development, and comment below with your thoughts on what Russia's next move might be. Your support helps us bring accurate and detailed updates straight to you, keeping you ahead of the news and fully aware of the changing dynamics in Crimea and beyond.